All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are back. Last week, you guys responded really well to it. We're back with another One Piece chapter review. I told you we're doing this weekly. Well, as long as whenever Oda drops a chapter. So right now it's weekly. We don't have another break, so it's lit. But Christian, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well. Very well.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Can I say before we start this, another good week for Jump. Gotta say, My Hero redeemed itself.
Yes, it did.
This is what I needed. Black Clover, I was just like, Tabata pulling an Oda, stopping it right when I don't want you to. Like but it was nice seeing Julius, but it was for only like a second. And I know that's a spoiler for people who don't read my Black Clover. And then what else did I fuck with? I liked Undead Unluck this week. I'm not gonna lie.
Nice.
How did you feel about Shonen Jump this week?
I thought it was pretty darn fire. All across the board, I was very pleased.
The only one I haven't read was JJK, and I don't know why I didn't read that before we did this, but should have read it. But I'm gonna read it after. I bet it was fire because isn't it the transition?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it's still fire. They're on a complete, just dominant role right now.
All right, yeah, I gotta check that out. I gotta check that out ASAP. Do you read Kaiju number 8?
Not yet, but not because I'm not interested. Only because I really want to binge like 25, 30, 40 chapters. Okay. Because I already know it's lit. So I know nothing about it. I just wanted to let it rack up just a few more chapters, and then I'm gonna go head first.
Let me tell you how many they have, just so you know, just to get an idea. They have 20. Wait, hold on. I thought it was in my continue reading, but I forgot I finished it. They got 25 chapters. So, but like, okay, no, they do point one. So yeah, they have legitimately 25 chapters. But like next week will be an art week. So I'll keep you up to date with the chapter count until you start. Because it is great. Speaking of that, for all the people watching, starting the Kaiju number 8 reviews again. Took a little break, starting up again, but that'll be out this week. So you guys can check that out as well. But let's get into it. We're here for One Piece.
Yes, we are.
I gotta say, man, we called a lot of stuff. We called a
whole lot. A whole lot.
And that's like, and I know there's a lot of people in the One Piece community, but I made sure I watched everybody's stuff. Like at least like the big people, like the Tekkings, because they were here before us. They're the OGs.
Right. Yeah.
We called a lot of stuff, bro. I'm gonna just say it. We did crazy. First off, I like doing it this way, a little different than like how everybody else does it. Taking it by like character and taking it like review, like how we did last week. I'll just give the quick synopsis of everything that happened. So we see the Gatling attack. Luffy whoops his ass, goes through, like really downs Kaido. But of course, like we said last week, haki gone, over with, too much.
Right.
Zoro, yo boy, has to then come in, just keep his captain alive, while Kid is like, oh my gosh, like stunned.
Wow.
And Big Mom's actually like really impressed. This is what made me happy, but we'll get to that. Big Mom's impressed. Zoro like saves Luffy from a Big Mom attack. Law hits her with a counter shock, which actually damaged her, which we need to discuss about because that has connotations to last week. That has me like, okay. But we got that. Kid and Killer don't really do anything because the Dragon Twister comes up, and then Kaido actually almost like eats Luffy. He's in his mouth. Don't know why he didn't chew, but I digress. He puts him in his mouth. Zoro's like, oh no, I'm gonna give you a Dragon Twister of my own. And then bow, cuts him, actually penetrates Scales with a cut. We'll talk about that because there's high contention in that in the fandom as well. Spits Luffy out, he catches him, and then he starts sending those wind scythe blades that cut off Kiku's arm. And then it transitions to the bottom. We got to dive into this. We start seeing CP0. A lot into your theory about how we're moving away from the rooftop. We'll touch more into that. And we basically see the player set. The only really enemy we see is Sasaki and Frankie. So I'm assuming that's the first one we're going to see. And then we see Sanji, Nami, Ulti, Nami, Usopp, Ulti. Then we see Jinbei, then Yamato. I'm feeling it's going to go in that order, but we'll get to that as well. And then it ends with the Odas of Oda-esque cliffhanger. We get, hybrid form Kaido in the smokiest of silhouettes. And it's him and Big Mom saying they have fun. Now, I think we should start with the protagonist like last week. We called that, man. We called that. I felt so good about that.
Without a doubt. I mean, like, so who do you think out of the protagonist group, who do you think the MVP was this week? Last week, even though it wasn't protagonist, we said Big Mom, was the MVP. Who did you kind of feel like was the MVP of this chapter?
It's hard not to give it to Zoro because he cut him. He's still standing and he's saving Luffy.
Right.
Luffy's beginning attack was great, but after that, he's out. Yeah. So, I have to give it to Zoro's MVP. Yeah. But boy, was that Gatling. Do you think Ryu was involved in that Gatling?
Without a doubt. Okay. I think the consensus is, starting off with Luffy. Luffy said, okay, I know about the time limit. I'm not going to tiptoe around this. I'm going all out. I know I got my homie Zoro here. I got other people who are here. So I can afford to, just put all the gas, foot on the pedal.
Yep.
I'm going all out to do as much damage as I can against Kaido. And I think that's why Big Mom was like, you really went all out, because not only did she notice that Luffy put in damage, but she's like, okay, that's real effort, right?
But there. She felt those, and see, the thing is, she felt those punches in Whole Cake.
Oh yeah.
So for Kaido to really take damage and for her to feel the haki, she realizes, whoa, this kid's different. And it's only been like a month, a couple of weeks.
It's humorous because you say like she felt the punches. She didn't feel what Luffy's going out right now.
No, she has not felt that. She felt his past punches. And
she felt the past Gear 4 punch. So she's probably like, what's going on? Like at first, that's probably why she was shocked. She was like, what's going on, Kaido? Like, I took that punch. That wasn't anything. What's going on? But at this point, there's no doubt. She's like, okay, this dude's done something.
Yep.
This is a problem.
Bad chapter for Kid. Oh, bad chapter for Kid.
Look, man, Twitter is destroying your boy. Like, God, like.
But his reaction did it too. And then by not doing anything, it just showed like, wow, Luffy's this much stronger than me. That's what that face read.
There was a lot of dialogue in this chapter, to go to Kid, where it seems almost like he was given the Piccolo role from Dragon Ball, where he's kind of narrating things. Like, he's like, okay, what's going on? When did Luffy get hit? So you have Law breaking it down. No, that's a side effect of Gear 4. And so you have Kid almost in an admiring kind of state saying, so that's the cost of power. And it's like, it's almost like, what are you saying? Are you saying you don't have that caliber of power? And you're saying like, I have to pay a price for that? I'm not there yet? Are you admitting to that? I don't want to read too much into that, but
that's what it sounds like. Yeah.
That's the vibe that Kids, gave me there.
And it gives me like, okay, so Law 100% thinks he's on that level. Like, Law from the babysitter comments, Law 100% thinks he's on that level. He knows Luffy's like this, so Law's not affected by this. Plus, he saw it in Dressrosa. But even in Dressrosa, he wasn't too thrown back. But he knew he had to get Luffy because he's a D, and they share that thing. That's Law. Right. So Law knows that. Kid not knowing what this power is makes me be like, I don't know if you're gonna be a Yonko after this. Like, we talk about future Yonkos, and it seems like he got some time to go. Like, he might have to get to his 30s, 40s.
I mean, I can see that, but only because at this point I am giving a lot of people the benefit of the doubt. Luffy had no idea what Future Sight was until Katakuri showed it to him. So if Kid is supposed to be a parallel to Luffy, I would not be surprised if he follows suit in the sense that he starts to see things and he's like, I wasn't aware of this. Now that I'm aware of it, I can start picking up on things, because you see how quickly Luffy did not know about Future Sight. Rayleigh did not. Rayleigh hinted. He said, there's people out there who, see into the future. But that's kind of like a back thought for Luffy. Luffy then saw it and he was like, I wonder if I can do that. And then starts doing it. Kid is his parallel. So now that Kid has seen it, it's very plausible that he might be able to develop exponentially at this point.
You're giving me hope.
That's me throwing it out there because Kid's supposed to be Luffy's parallel in that sense.
That's giving it the supreme benefit of the doubt. And I hope that's the case. Question, do you think Kid uses a form, like a weak form of maybe Hirogoro level Ryu by the end of this? just based upon seeing it?
By the end of it, perhaps, especially, like I said, because of the nature of his devil fruit. So electromagnetism, for the most part, feels like something that is surrounding Kid. Rio is the excess haki surrounding you. So if it can even be explained, like what Luffy is doing, what kind of technique Rio is, then I feel like, again, intuitively, Kid should be able to do it. Now, how many more chapters I'm going to be giving him the benefit of the doubt at this point, I don't know, but I'm still giving him the benefit of the doubt at the moment. So I think he can pull it off. On top of that, I think it's kind of necessary because
it's super necessary right now.
I don't think these WWE moves are pulling it right now.
Not cutting it. And also, we have to look at the fact of when we talk about Zoro, is Zoro now incapacitated for 10 minutes? Or will the samurai come up and start to like it? That goes into my theory for this week, but I'll save that. It depends on who's going to carry around Luffy. But either way, Kid has 10 minutes to show us what's up. Right. You got 10 minutes, big dog. Like, Law already hit Big Mom and fucking hurt her, which was big questions. Like, why didn't Kaido get hurt by that gamma knife? Law's powers are like that. Like, I went back and watched Dressrosa. Dofi would have been hurt, but the reason why he wasn't was because of his fruit. So, like, is Kaido's scales thicker than perhaps Big Mom's like already like armor, the invisible armor she has on? Those are just questions I have about Law.
That's definitely debatable. Like I said, we've seen Doflamingo tank, Gamma Knight, but again, that's also because Law kind of fell for him talking while he fixed himself internally, and he wasn't moving at the time. So he was literally able to lay down on the ground and just focus on recovery. Kaido aided in his Zoan fruit, and we know that Zoan devil fruit users can recover from massive damage pretty quickly. Big Mom not being a Zoan, I would say maybe it does a little bit more lasting damage on her, although, again,
it is counter shock too.
She didn't really showcase any lagging damage from that attack. So, that is interesting.
But it does seem like that was like the first damage she took this whole time.
Without a doubt,
So that's why I'm like, all right, see you, Law. I respect it. Killer doesn't do anything. No point in talking about him. I think we've covered pretty much Kid. Like, you guys, it's time for you to like Luffy's down for 10 minutes. It's time to see who's gonna step up. And like I said, my thoughts is Zoro may be incapacitated, but there's a theory that I have that he won't be. Let's talk about him now. Man, how do you feel about the community's take of, is this Zoro's real power? Blah, blah, blah.
I am very annoyed because, again, anyone can check my Twitter. I've been going ham. It's crazy how people are trying to detract from Zoro and his skill set, because I understand here you have Kaido. He's mentioning things like Odin's Rio. He's mentioning things like the Blade. So it's easy to see or showcase, like, okay, perhaps Enma is a power-up, and none of these things would happen without Enma. Therefore, the benefit goes to Enma. However, that requires that you completely ignore Enma's introduction. So
that's what I was thinking in my head while you're talking.
Who has more authority on swordsmanship, in your opinion, Kaido or Hitetsu?
Yeah, it has to be Hitetsu.
It has to be. He's the highest caliber swordsmith we have seen. And this guy says, and I quote, Enma releases more of the Wilders Rio, not Enma stores Rio, not Enma creates Rio from thin air. It releases more of the Wilders Rio. So anything that Zoro has been doing has been his own capacity. So perhaps a better analogy is that this is bringing out Zoro's potential.
Yeah.
So you have something like, you go back and you look at in the East Blue Saga, when you watch Mihawk versus Zoro, right? Mihawk completely destroys Zoro's nameless katana back then, because at that point he only had Wado Ichimonji and then just 2 katana. Mihawk obviously notices Wado Ichimonji, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to destroy that blade, because, that I respect power or, respectable blade. So he leaves Wado alone, completely shatters the other blades. So the caliber of the tool that you have is important. Enma being a top grade blade that can become blackened, just like Shusui, just like Yoru, that can upgrade its level is important. Yes, it's one of Enma's Odin's blades, and not just anyone can use it. As of right now, only Odin and Zoro are capable of using it. However, this is still Zoro's ability.
Yeah, and
it's
that's the thing.
That Enma's pulling it out.
The thing that you just said, everything you said, I agree with. But the one that really makes me just be like, all right, well, y'all kind of have no real backing behind this, because there's only two people who can use it. Like Hitetsu said, like anybody else who ever tried to pick that up, it instantly wiped out. So that already has to show that, well, Zoro's strong. Like the only other guy that can use is Odin. And then if you remember, like whatchamacallit, I forget, Oda was talking about in like an SBS or somewhere about how swords have these souls, and like they like keep remnants of people like from past, because we saw that with Shusui. But again, which we saw from Shusui, it was like, okay, it has some of Ryuma's like essence in it, but that's not Ryuma's power that's like powering the sword.
Right. See, like, and so that's the thing. So Gyukimaru earlier in the series starts to hint to it, but we don't get the real answer. So Gyukimaru hints to how Ryuma turned his blade black, and he mentions haki. And you see Zoro, something's clicking. He's like, is that the correlation between a black blade and something else? You think about Mihawk. Mihawk in the flashback tells Zoro, no more drinking until you learn how to turn a sword into a black blade. You can turn any blade into a black blade and it won't chip, it won't break at all. So obviously haki is directly and probably the most prevalent feature of what makes a black blade.
Yep.
So without a doubt, Ryuma, to say that Shusui has like Ryuma's haki, I'm not against that. Because I mean, what typically makes things black in One Piece? Haki. So if the blade is permanently black, I don't believe it still has per se residual, Ryuma haki completely, but it's something haki related. So I'm kind of glad that he got rid of Shusui, because he needs to blacken his own blade.
It's probably they put their will in, how Luffy is transferring this inherent will. That's probably the swordsman's transfer of inherent will. Like they power, because haki means will, he just pours so much of it. Not necessarily that you get the power boost, but you may. But it's more so his will is embedded in the sword and thus turning it black. That if I had to guess.
And we don't know these things yet, but I'm just reflecting on a lot of the sword will type examples that we've had throughout the series. When Zoro got Sandai Kitetsu, he tests his luck against its curse. It's implied that Sandai respected Zoro and chose not to cut him. It was like, okay, I like you. Usually you do this. Sure, I'm going to cut your arm off.
Yeah.
Sandai chose to dodge. Now, you could say, okay, Zoro did say it's my luck versus the curse. So Zoro could just be super lucky. But to me, it's insinuated that Sandai chose that. When you go and you look at the Ryuma fight, even though that's Brook's shadow, it's kind of odd because it doesn't completely feel like Brook. It doesn't feel like Ryuma. It's some amalgamation of those two souls together. And if you watch the scene where Ryuma gives Shusui to Zoro, he says and personifies Shusui again. He's like, this blade would be happy with you as its master. So there's definitely something about a blade and its will and it being or it having its own desires, if that makes sense. Zoro called Sandai a problem child in Logtown. So no, that wasn't Logtown.
It is Logtown. Yeah.
Okay. I get so many of these earlier places confused, but so swords obviously have a will of their own. Enma has a will of its own, but it's not a black blade. So I just don't understand why people think that that's Odin's haki. And then again, the anime kind of helps us out because Zoro's haki's always been purple. Yep. We now get to see what Odin's haki looks like. This is not the same haki. So it should be simple to understand that this
Oden's
is Zoro.
haki is more similar to Luffy, if anything.
Right. And I mean, that leads into a whole other thing, with this being Zoro's arc and every arc being Luffy's arc. When I first was watching, or rather reading the Oden flashback, I speculated, I said, Oden to me represents what Luffy and Zoro would be if they fuse into one character. You have that sense of Oden being this guy who everyone wants to follow. For those who watch the anime, the latest chapter, the latest episode,
great episode too.
A humorous joke about that, where every guy in the city wanted to follow Oden when he got disowned, and it made it seem like the city itself leaned over to follow Oden. That's a trait that Luffy has. Mihawk said it. This dude is the most dangerous person on the sea because he can make an ally out of anyone. Oden had that at the highest level. Whitebeard immediately loved him. Roger immediately loved him. Everyone in Wano, even if they thought he was a problem, as soon as he did something, they're like, I want to give up what I'm doing
to follow
this man. That is Luffy. But then you can easily see this dude wants to go fight Ashura Doji because he has a bloodlust like Zoro. Obviously, swordsman. So Oden is the perfect representation to me of both Luffy and Zoro. So from that perspective, this is all just fitting together very well. So I was very pleased with Zoro's portrayal. I really wish the community would stop trying to downplay.
I didn't tweet about it because I was just like, I'm gonna wait for our review, but it was just, I didn't like some of the comments because because I'm a Sanji guy. Right. I'm not going to say Sanji's power up when we see him is all because of the raid suit. It's just a part of his character going forward. Right. Just like Enma's a part of Zoro's character going forward. I look at those things both as Luffy learning Rio. But because they're neither the main character and Oda can't give them a full training arc, you know what? I'm going to give you these objects that are now a part of you that enhance you, but it's not the objects main reason why you're this strong. It's your already strength you've accumulated, plus adding it with that is now your new power. You know what I mean? You can't
the raid suit is a great example because it essentially just boosts Sanji's own, his own skill set. He's always been a stealthy person, whether the Straw Hats are making their own plan, Sanji's somewhere else messing stuff up for their enemies from behind. So the fact that he became invisible just makes him more stealthy. When you saw him in Whole Cake, my favorite feat, I don't know why people don't talk about this as much, Sanji dodging Katakuri's jelly bean is trash to me as far as feats go, compared to when this dude literally speed blitzed Oven to pick up Chiffon. Yep. And Oven had no idea. This dude leaves the carriage with the cake, gets to Chiffon. No, I'm sorry. He leaves, kicks Oven in the middle of Pound punching him so that Oven thinks that Pound punched him. Then he goes to Chiffon, picks her up, and disappears. And Oven does not register anything. He does this without a raid suit in a costume. Speed-wise, this dude is crazy. So the raid suit allows him to move quickly, easier. He doesn't have to skywalk the whole time because now he can fly. So now he can use skywalking to change directions or to, enhance his speed. So it's here to enhance his skill set already. Judge obviously understands his biology, so I'm no doubt Diable Jambe and that entire skill set is probably bolstered by the raid suit. But it's not like the raid suit just gave him something that is completely just out of this world. It's like Sanji can't do that except for turning invisible for the most part. So
and we know Zoro's power, Zoro's strength. We've seen him work out for forever. Enma just enhances his cutting power.
Right. That's it. So, a lot of the Zoro fans that I've spoken to, we're still kind of waiting for Zoro to find a way to, spread that haki evenly. Because, if you look at that panel where he's about to cut Kaido, let me see, not the Dragon Twister. I'm saying
it's before the Dragon Twister, huh?
No. probably just.
Oh, it's the one right after the Dragon
Yeah.
Twister.
Okay. So right before the Dragon Twister, you can see when he summons that dragon, the Azure Dragon, that he used against Ryuma again. If you remember that blue dragon that he summoned, if you look at that panel, you can see that Enma has its own black flame surrounding it. None of his other swords have that. So going back to what I was saying about how Enma brings out Zoro's Rio, the same thing that Hitetsu said, it seems like Zoro has a whole lot of Rio, but Enma is the only one that's really pulling all of that out. So Zoro's true mastery of Enma is when he can spread, that haki out evenly. And he said the same thing about Shusui whenever he used the attack. He said that Shusui's attacks were so heavy, they would absorb the sword slashes from his other blades. So once Zoro really learns how to, I guess, negate Enma being the main draw of his haki and he's able to distribute it evenly, then it's like, okay, he's definitely the master at this point.
And look, it's supposed to be this way. Like, I believe Sanji's going to be able to have future sight at some point. Like, Sanji's the observation guy. Zoro's the armament. He should be able to do Rio just like Luffy. Luffy's the combination of them both plus Conquerors. And I know people might say Usopp's the observation guy, but no, man, it's Sanji.
No. I mean, like, here's the thing. So I actually think that multiple members of the Straw Hat should get observation haki, but it should all be fleshed out completely differently. Yep. Nami can immediately tell when a thunderstorm's going to come by the weather dropping by a couple of degrees. Like, if you were to tell me that's observation haki, I'm buying that.
Yeah, me too.
She has an ability to read the environment at a level that's ridiculous. I don't know how many times since the beginning of One Piece, people are like, it's a great day. And Nami's like, we got to do something immediately. What are you talking about? It's great. Yeah, but the weather's about to flip and turn catastrophic any second now. So Usopp was able to have sniper vision from long, like his observation haki is basically a scope at this point, a ridiculously accurate and powerful scope. That's completely different from Luffy or Sanji. So to say that someone will develop observation haki or they're their observation haki guy is just to say that there's a specific avenue in which they express that.
Yeah. So and Rayleigh did say it affects everybody differently. Everybody has a different caliber of it. That's a great point about Nami. I definitely, you got me on board. I'm with you. So all right, so that's pretty much the beginning portions of the battle. Your boy Zoro does. I love that Dragon Twister move. Great. Love that he cut Kaido. Love it, love it. And I love that Killer is like, whoa. So it shows both Killer and Kid looking at Zoro and Luffy like, this is what we need to become.
Yep. And on that, I remember when we were discussing when Killer was cutting Kaido, I wasn't sure what it was. The consensus as of late has been essentially, I think that people think that that's a sound-based technique.
Okay.
And I'm buying that as well. So it seems interesting because, again, it looked like those blades had, sliced through Kaido.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, make him an Apu derivative because it's sound-based, but I do buy that, that was a sound-based attack. And so Killer is specifying Zoro actually pierced him, scales.
Without using some form of extra,
Right. And so, one of the things that I'm really interested in, although I know this is going to be terrible for Zoro's portrayal, I don't know how this would happen either, but I'm just so hyped after seeing that last anime episode. On top of that, if Zoro somehow learns any of Oden's techniques, it's a wrap. Oh God, it's a wrap.
And the thing is, even though he learned Kinemon's technique, he made it his own. Again, if he learns Oden's techniques, he's gonna call it something different and make it.
He's gonna call it something different. But I'm just saying, like
that Paradise Waterfall, where he cut the thing in half, use that on Kaido's head. That would be crazy.
I literally rewatched that scene I stopped the episode, rewound it, watched it, rewound it. I was like, that is so clean. Oh my God.
And I love that the OG music was back in that episode when Kinemon and was like down and Odin was about to strike the pit. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I miss that music so much. If you haven't watched that anime episode, it is.
Yes.
The past ones have been great. So, but all right, that's all the rooftop stuff, and then we transition like we figured. The Rubbles hitting the thing, and then we see CP just Zero. How do you feel about these boys being up in here?
I'm very excited because these guys are the scheming manipulators in the back who are looking at all of this. And literally, I haven't played this game before, but the closest derivative to that, I guess, would be chess. So they're literally sitting here playing chess with these guys saying, look, please go ahead, mess each other up. This is excellent. We're sitting back, we're enjoying this party. Y'all are going through it right now, and we are excited about that. So that brings so much good anxiety for whenever the dust settles on this Yonko war. The hype is not going anywhere.
You remember how you asked me last week, do I think the Marines are coming? I can kind of give you an answer now. Right. I think this ties back, and I got to give credit to Tekking about doing the history of showing about how this parallels to Japanese real life about opening the borders. The Marines are coming at the end.
Yeah.
They're going to come once everything's over, but we're going to see them. Now, will Luffy and them fight them? I doubt it, but I think they'll come at the end, and I think it'll give us some sword revelations. I think we'll see X Drake talking to either, I don't want to say Kobe, or maybe who's in charge of sword, some admiral form, but I think that's going to happen. Now, but before then, I'm doubting it now because of this.
Right. I mean, Drake did speak on the fact that CP0 was here. Then I completely forgot that they were here. I thought that they were there whenever Orochi was talking his crap about, Kaido likes me and left. But apparently they're still here. Drake is aware of that. So at least the sword faction of the Marines should be aware that the world government is colluding with pirates at the moment.
Yep.
So yeah.
Also, and, I feel like we got a zag. I feel like Oda gave us a zag, and he's gonna zig in a little bit. Orochi's not dead.
Like, again, the fact that he showed his head there is just
and not the body. Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, again, his devil fruit is a multi-headed being. So
and then there's smoke around the bottom of it too, which is weird.
On.
Yeah.
What is Fugaro Kujo? What is he doing? But to show the head again is putting an emphasis on this is just a head. So, like I said before, I am okay with him being dead from the sense that he got betrayed and he's someone who betrayed and was, low down. So from that sense, that's okay. But being that he's a multi-headed devil fruit user and Oda's said, okay, we got beheaded. He didn't get impaled. He didn't get burned. He didn't get sliced up like Kaido, just beheaded. And now I'm going to show you this head that almost looks like a Lego piece, like a Lego head just lying on the ground.
With like the noise, with noise around the head and smoke.
Right.
Like that's a zag, bro. That he wants us to believe one thing and he's going to zig.
Right. So Orochi's he doesn't strike me as being powerful. So it's like.
Also, I feel like Hiyori has to come back into play.
Right. No, that's exactly where I was going to go with this. So, you have Momo who refuses to take Abukir. I cannot pronounce Japanese names, but he doesn't take his blade, which is the lore of the blade that actually kills the Yamato no Orochi. You've got Hiyori who, just a couple of chapters, I say a couple of chapters ago, but, chapters ago.
It was a while ago now. Yeah, thanks.
She tells Zoro, I wish I could cut him down. We saw her, when she slapped Orochi, she had no fear in her heart. She, talks about being a samurai's daughter. It just doesn't make sense that Hiyori came into the scene, was so prevalent for a while, and then said, like, okay, I'm going to disappear until after the battles because I don't want to, get in the way of you guys. And she doesn't do something. So if the Scabbards aren't the one to kill Orochi, which to me would be the only thing more poetic than Kaido killing him or one of Odin's children killing them, then it has to be Hiyori. So I definitely agree with that.
And also, since I'm thinking, just watching East Blue again, I'm getting Kuina vibes, and I feel like it's gonna be Oda going back on that, especially since Hiyori had to do with Zoro, and it can show that no, women can be masters of the sword. I that's just where if I'm, because a lot of, just from us rewatching East Blue, there's a lot of East Blue in this, a lot.
I mean, I often read, I believe, a little bit too much, but even the scene of just Zoro looking at Hiyori after she says that, if you when you watch the entire series of One Piece, it's very rare that Zoro has found a woman who has the real conviction. Like, Tashigi battles him.
And that's why he always scoffs at Tashigi. He scoffed at Monet.
He always scoffs at her because, that first battle, he's like, this isn't serious. I can easily whoop you. But at that point, he said, I can't because you look like Kuina. So he did belittle her there. But every other time that he's gone up against Kuina, he's like, you still don't really have the conviction. This is still way too easy. Chill out. Then he clowns her with Monet. He's like, you can take the credit. Congrats. You really did it. You take all the movies and OVAs, the women who attack him, he always makes some line about your conviction isn't really there. In Strong World, in Heart of Gold, he literally is just like, I'll battle you. I have no problems battling a woman. I'm not going to belittle you. But if you're not serious about this, then I'm going to talk shit on you.
Because I've known a woman who takes it serious.
Right. And Hiyori has struck me, especially when she was talking about, I am the daughter of a proud samurai. Kuina vibes. Like, Kuina would have not cared, would have slapped Odin. Obviously, she would have cut, I said Odin. Orochi. She would have cut Orochi because she would have had the sword on her at all times. But Hiyori gives me that same vibe. And so this feeling that I got when Zoro looked at her after she said that was, oh, you're serious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about that. Like, I respect that. If you really had the opportunity to cut down Orochi, I actually believe you would do it.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm right there. And we know, she was kind of tomboyish because Momo was scared of those drop kicks. So
so really that's still in there. Yeah, exactly.
She's still about that action. So yeah.
I love CP0 acknowledging the samurai strength of how they had to do a sneak attack, but I thought it was very interesting. Normally, and funny enough, after I rewatched East Blue, I wanted to go watch some Marineford just to. I was just in a One Piece vibe, and
right.
Kizaru was like, the way to defeat the Whitebeard pirates is to strike the head off of the beast, or as they say, cut the snake's head, you kill the rest of the body. But CP0 makes it known that even if they kill Kaido, the executives won't stand for it and can take out 100 soldiers and take out everybody else. It's imperative that they knock out every executive and Kaido. The foot soldiers don't matter because obviously they're fodder. But that goes into the Toby Roppo and the headliners. And then we see pictures of, which I think will probably be the order of the battle because they showed Sasaki. I feel like that's first. That's coming next week. And then we see Sanji. Hopefully Sanji gets the queen because I feel like that's going to be Robin's battle. Maybe Robin and Brook tag team since we see a Usopp and Nami tag team. And then we see our boy Jinbei. Yamato, I want you to give your theory on that because I feel like that was great. We texted about that this week. So I wonder who she's going to fight. Maybe she fights a king. I don't know, but Marco's still there. We still don't know what's up with Big Mom's pirates because if they have to take out the executives, the Big Mom pirates aren't dying here. This makes me, even the way CP0 is talking, they were talking strictly about Kaido. The Big Mom's escaping some form or fashion.
Big Mom has way too many children right now that are way too big. I mean, Smoothie is on Wano. She is not, a pushover. Sparrow's not a pushover. So it's not like she brought her fodder subordinates and fodder family members. She has, commander level people with her. That's a problem.
And isn't Daifuku in Oven with them?
I mean, come on.
There's no way. There's no way. I mean,
we've got matchups for, Kaido's crew, but I don't even see how you would introduce commander level opponents from Big Mom into the fray at this point. So Big Mom has to have some kind of other narrative going for her. We already know, with that scene with Marco and Peril Sparrow, she's planning something. So,
yep.
We don't know. But the Yamato thing, the consensus right now, I believe it's called the Byakko White Tiger. I am hoping that, she's correlated to the White Tiger so that we can complete this mythology with the blue dragon and the white tiger. I know Zoro's always been seen as a tiger type thing as well in certain iterations, but we got that panel with Yamato's teeth. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, that's and that has to be brought up again.
That has to be brought up again. And I mean, she and Momo and Shinobu were, by themselves for a little while, but I don't think Yamato is staying off screen. She's definitely about to do something. So that is interesting. I don't think Marco is going to be 1v2ing King and Queen for too long. I do believe he can, but I just find it weird that he's not checked on Izo yet. So with Law putting Izo back down on the lower levels, it's very possible that Marco can then see Izo, and then it's like, okay, that's my crewmate. Kiku's hurt. Maybe I should be, employing some of my healing flames. And so he takes the gas off of taking on King and Queen.
Thus
Sanji gets separated from Black Maria so that Robin can come in there and have her matchup. Sanji gets Queen. And then you have that opening of King. And it's like, okay, well, Yamato seems very strong. She went up against Luffy. She went up against Ace. She has great portrayal. So she could, go up against King. As you said, I think the order that was shown here is the order of operations here. So Frankie versus Sasaki.
I think when we see Sanji, I think that's more so seeing Sanji escape. That's not seeing Sanji fight. I think that's setting up for Robin to come in. But I do think, and then we go Nami, Usopp, Ulti. Then I think we get to the Jinbei, and when you see Jinbei, I think that's Jinbei and Sanji, or just Jinbei. But then we go Yamato, and then that's how I feel like it's going down with you. I'm excited to see that Frankie versus Sasaki next week. Hopefully that happens.
Yes, I think so. The fact that Odin, I always say that Oda and Odin. The fact that Oda has now actually shown us the lower levels to me is definitive evidence that he's going to the lower levels. And we also know that with his cliffhanger style, I highly doubt we're seeing Hybrid Kaido next week.
Yep.
I highly doubt. He kept him in the shadows. And
we're getting a break before we see Hybrid Kaido. This is no break. This is
we know what Oda's doing. So, he wants to keep that Hybrid Kaido hype going for a couple of weeks. And that is easily something that can sustain the community. So keep him shrouded in mystery for right now. That's on the back burner. Show us these lower levels. And as you were talking about with CP0, I'm very, very pleased with the fact that Kaido has commanders and Toby Roppo as two calibers, because I see Sasaki and Who's Who as blending that line between the Toby Roppo and the Calamities. They were the two who showed the most interest in being promoted to Calamity level. So if anything, they're, to me, in between Toby Roppo and Commander, below Commander level. So that's a problem if you think about, okay, perhaps we incapacitate or take down Kaido. You've got King, Queen, Who's Who, and Sasaki, and Jack. That's 5 major issues who by themselves can take out hundreds to thousands by themselves of lower level allies. So that's a huge problem.
And interesting you bring up Jack. Jack's probably going to come back. I know you're on that wave heavy. I just don't know who's going to fight him.
I don't know either, but Kaido did say, "Hey, go get healed up."
That's true.
All right. So
now let me give you my theory. This is my theory for the week. Last week I gave the Big Mom gets killed by Blackbeard, thus raising Luffy and Blackbeard. This week I feel connections to Dressrosa. I'm feeling connections to Dressrosa. Luffy loses his haki. I do not believe Zoro is going to carry him around until he gets it back. Right. I believe Zoro's too important to the fight. This is tying into Act 3's tragedy, thus making Luffy feel responsible. I feel some samurai are going to come try to protect Luffy and keep him there, while Hybrid Kaido thus killing the samurai, thus ending Act 3.
I think definitely that we are long overdue for some tragedy. Kiku losing an arm was like really the first time I think a lot of us really felt the stakes of a Yonko war. That's not even enough though, because we know that, if things are wrapped up pretty quickly, you've got Marco, Chopper, and Law. So like, would that even be a permanent issue for Kiku at this point? You can make the argument that that wouldn't be, with those 3 doctors giving Kiku her arm back and it being completely tangible and workable is completely believable. So it is overdue for the death toll. Like, not any, important characters yet, but people got to start getting messed up.
And that's why I think it's going to I don't know if it's going to be Kinemon. I'm not that ready to predict which samurai dies saving Luffy in this theory. Right. But it has to be someone important and it has to be someone impactful, thus giving Luffy that I didn't save people, but not to Marineford levels to where he's incapacitated. Right. No, I think, and it's funny enough that Oda talked about Gear 5 or whatever is going on, but I feel like thus him losing someone in the process from Hybrid Kaido due to his fault because he wasn't strong enough, I think that thus gives him his Goku Rage moment. Yep. And we see whether it's another amalgamation of Gear 4, the attack version, the armament hockey version, whether that's Tiger Man, Lion Man, whatever we see, or if it's Gear 5, I feel like that comes from this as well.
Yeah. I mean, right now, I hate to say it, if I think someone's going to die, I'm putting it on Denjiro. I think Kinemon has to reunite with Suru, his wife.
Now, my question to you is, let me just cut you off for a quick second, because this is important.
Yeah.
Do you feel Denjiro has a connection with Luffy? I feel like if someone is going to die, they have to be close to him in some form or fashion, whether that's Kawamatsu from the prison, whether that's Kiku, whether that's Raizo. Yeah. But I do agree with you. It's not Kinemon.
Well, that's actually a good counterpoint to go against Denjiro, because Luffy and Denjiro have practically no correlation.
Exactly.
Zoro and Denjiro have a correlation. Kawamatsu would be interesting. I don't want Kawamatsu,
especially after the anime. The anime made him badass.
That's the point. I don't want Kawamatsu to go. So if Oda kills Kawamatsu, that's going to affect me emotionally. Luffy and Kawamatsu a little bit closer because of obviously Udon.
And that's why I say it, because he's less important.
But he's also
has a tie.
Very important, tied to Yukimaru, tied to Hiyori. He's been a very positive oriented person since he's left. He's been laughing, calling Zoro a great guy, calling Luffy a great guy. So that ray of sunshine, which is Kawamatsu dying, would be very, very potent. So Kawamatsu is an excellent candidate to die.
That's what I'm thinking.
The only reason that I brought up Denjiro is because I'm holding out hope. He's correlated to Odin at only the level that Kinemon has been portrayed. I was really interested because I thought that when he talked about he was, distorted by this demon of anger, I thought that was a segue or correlation to Zoro being demonic, because Zoro's talked about like how he's been a demon in human flesh. I'm like, okay, is that rhetoric to say that that Denjiro is also getting that same portrayal? I don't know. Zoro's already got his rage boost from Kiku losing the arm. Mm-hmm. So if someone else were to die, I am sold on your point that it needs to be someone who's correlated to Luffy.
Another question, thought of it while we're talking.
Yep.
And it makes sense for propelling Carrot, maybe Wanda, other Minks. Mm-hmm. Neko, how do you feel about Neko Mamushi and Arashi? Because I feel like they carry the weight of Kinemon almost to that point, because we've been with them to Zou. And since they're older, you could phase them out and give new leaders to the people love Zunisha.
Actually, that's even better because we already know how major Raizo is safe is to Luffy. That's what Luffy was thinking of when he punched Kaido in chapter 1000.
Yep.
He was thinking about Raizo is safe. That major moment that the Minks showed the ultimate level of loyalty. The same thing that Shanks said. It's just an arm. You are more important. Family, friends are more important than anything else. We can lose civilization. We can lose history. I can lose my arm as long as you're safe. So that being so important to Luffy makes sense that either Inu or Neku or possibly both, get messed up. I mean, Jack already cut off their limbs.
Yep, so, and you do it to protect Luffy. That would give him the ultimate rage moment, getting to the next power level.
Yep, I completely buy that.
And I think in terms of like hierarchy, I have them higher than Kawamatsu. I have them higher than Kiku. It just works for the story. Thus, also giving Carrot a role to be an alliance member, but being the lead, helping being part of Zunisha and the Zaun. Mm-hmm. Thus calling them when Luffy needs, but not putting her on the crew because she has to go back to her homeland. Thus opening up that spot for Yamato. Yeah. Because if you look at the OBS or whatever, the panel when you see the Straw Hats, it looks like there's a spot available for one more person.
Yeah. And it would be poetic that one or both of the representatives from the Scabbards who can transform might get messed up, leading to Luffy having a transformation. So not saying that the Mink transformation is Gear 5th or has anything to do with that, but we do know the moon is pretty important to One Piece. Again, not saying Gear 5th has anything to do with the moon, but someone who can transform, getting a mortal wound, leading to Luffy perhaps getting a new Gear 4 or Gear 5th form. I like that.
Also, let me add some more spice to it because I'm thinking about it as we talk through it.
Yeah.
Also, and based upon this is the anime and just based upon Wano being the Dawn, they're the only two people that not only connect to Luffy, but connect to Roger.
Right.
And they die because they say, no, you're the Dawn that Roger's been waiting for. Right. We will sacrifice our life for you.
Yep.
I don't know. It just Nekomamushi and Inarashi are poetic for that.
Yeah. I mean, a grander scene of what we got in 1000, where the Musketeers were bowing to Luffy, like, please go up the stairs. We stayed here and made sure it was clear for you. So I can totally see, Inu and Neku doing an even grander scale of this, where it's like, we knew, that you needed, this sacrifice. We're here. We laid our lives down for you. Please, here, finish the job. We've done it. Yeah.
That's what and that's the end of that theory. But hell yeah. Anything else you got from this chapter? If not, then that'll be pretty much it for this week.
I think that's pretty cohesive as far as my thoughts are concerned. I don't see the hype going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
It has just been foot on the pedal every single chapter, and it's getting better and better. I'm completely with it.
Any guesses for next week before we get up out of here?
Other than going down to the lower levels like we were discussing earlier, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to be seeing any more CP0 anytime soon.
Yeah.
Just because they, Oda showed us that they're going to be in the background, back burner. Remember that they're there, but they're waiting it out.
I think it's too soon for Orochi and Fukurokuju.
Yeah, that's going to have to be a surprise towards the end. Probably in between the end of Big Mom and Kaido's specific conflict and before the CP0.
Do whatever they're going to do.
Whatever they're doing. Somewhere in between there.
Now, I do have a thought. Are we getting closer to the flower captor, or is it not time for that quite yet?
That's interesting because, the way I think about it, because I ascribe to a lot of these Zoro theories of him defeating Kaido or the dragging over, the capital, it's like, okay, how long are they going to be in the capital before that pivotal moment happens, if it happens? And I think that the citizens of Wano need to see or understand that battle is occurring. So there's definitely going to be a considerable amount of time that they're in the capital, in my opinion. But
I feel like they have to be in the capital for Luffy once the 10 minutes are up.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's not even just that, but you look at the map of Wano. I mean, I know it's not perfectly to scale, but Kaido's not moving at, a mile per hour. He's moving pretty quickly. So he should be able to get to the capital pretty quickly. But, even that also brings up a whole nother, level of question of how serious is Kaido right now. Because tell me, how is Kaido lifting an entire island and fighting at the same time? So
and I feel like that'll be a way to be like, okay, we're over the capital, but because Kaido's exerting so much energy, he can't drop it right now. So this is our chance to strike him. But if Kaido beats us, it's dropping instantly. That's how I feel like you can kind of drag that out narratively.
It can be that, or that could also pour into the tragedy where Kaido's like, it's been fun, but you guys do realize this whole time I've been expending about half, let's just say half of my energy transporting this. I'm ready to focus on all of y'all with my full undivided attention, and then just starts messing up the entire alliance. He's like, y'all had y'all's chance while I was transporting this island.
That could be the thing that sets Luffy off. The fact that he destroyed the capital and we lose multiple, we could lose Hyogoro. We could lose a lot of people in that. His people and ours.
Correlates back to Fishman Island when the Noah was falling. So if you think about that, Luffy was underneath the Noah, which was literally the size of an island, and he was opening up his chest wound to make sure that the Noah did not fall on Fishman Island and kill those people, those fishmen. So if people die because Kaido drops a whole island on, Luffy's going to be devastated. And I don't think Luffy knows where Tama is. At the back of his head,
he'll think
doing this to make sure that Wano is better than when, he arrived. So that's going to hurt him, and he knows Kaido just massacred people by dropping an island on him, and he doesn't give a crap.
Yep. So that's like theory. Yeah. That's like theory B. We have 1A, and that's like 1B. I like it. But that's all we got this week, Christian, because I'm pretty sure we covered with them going back down is really our big prediction of for next week. Tell the people where they can follow you at on social media.
Social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Design Season LLC for my art. If you just want to follow my main account, it's Arc Season, ARCHSZN. That's where you can find me.
Make sure y'all go follow Christian. Great content talking to him and everything. And his art is incredible. As you can see, the East Blue. But that'll be our art for a video coming this week because we're reviewing the chapters and we want to give you guys more One Piece content. And we're going to get to theory videos eventually. But I like how we do them inside of our long reviews, giving people chunky One Piece content. But we want to review each arc leading up so you can know our thoughts. We can talk about our initial thoughts and then our thoughts looking back on it from the standpoint of where we're at. I just feel it's really good. And the best place to start is East Blue. So that'll be out this week. So y'all be sure to check that out as well on the YouTube. You can follow me at LinBWT, follow Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube for all of the One Piece content. And that means, I just want to let it be known, that means when we do a One Piece movie on Run It Back, Christian's going to be joining me and Carissa. So that's going to happen soon as well. But we're starting off East Blue. Y'all be sure to check that out. But we will talk to you next week because there's no break. So for Christian, my name is Lyndon. You guys have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Peace.